We have been slaughtered for like over a year. People always go at me with this. My barber has brought it up to me before. Our chart, you go look at it. It is the safest chart to have both made money and kept money on.
Murad has gotten a little kickback in the last month or two, but Murad walks the walk. If you meet Murad, you realize like he's actually legit. He actually like believes it.
On the backpack meme, like his, and on like right here, see how it has a 10? Like that is on the actual backpack.
Yeah. Is there an inflection point around the corner and like
Ethereum go nuts, or at least go to all-time highs, and then it's easy.
some people claim utility is bearish? What's your thoughts?
Yeah,
So,
I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, well, I know he's on Bitcoin, on the Bitcoin train now. I don't know if he was on the Bitcoin train in September.
He's actually we were the first on the list.
No way.
Yeah, so we were the first thing on the train. That's right.
He started with us. So and I'll say he you know was in our Telegram. I'll never forget. I mean, he followed everybody back in 2023. Like I remember he followed me, and I kind of remembered him from back in a couple cycles ago when he'd done some other stuff, and I was like, oh wow. And then there was one time where he tweeted the names of like 50 different people in the Telegram, like just rattling them off. I don't know if you remember this. This is when he was first kind of coming to promise with the thesis. And I was pretty impressed.
He knew he saw 50 Sprotos, just random Sprotos, and it's 3,000 of them, you know.
Yeah.
And he knew every single person correlated to
Based
every
on their
Sproto,
Sproto.
just based on having seen them in the chat. Yeah, like not even
pretty
like
good.
there's no other way you could have possibly have done that. So it's really impressive. Yeah, I was like, I couldn't even probably do that at this point. I don't know if you could even do that.
No, that's what really impressed me, because I see all those people, and you know maybe he's even got like an analyst on it at that point, but I'll still give him credit for that, because he's
That's
putting analyst power on
Honestly,
identifying
like
Sprotos, yeah.
Murad has gotten a little kickback in the last like month or two, but Murad like walks the walk for real. Like if you meet Murad, you realize like he's actually legit. He actually like believes it.
Exactly.
No, yeah, and I understand why people, you know, they'll say, oh, he's promoting one thing and not the rest, and that's a clear, you know, thing that's going to agitate people, right? Because if your identity is something that's not being pushed by someone, you're going to come at odds with them.
Right. You always want your thing to be the best.
But he's, you know, he's market bought everything he has. He's been around and knows the culture. Like, he's not some kind of, you know, paid shill
he's
type.
not a tourist either, right?
Exactly. He's not a tourist.
He's not a tourist, and he's a really good person too. Like I like him.
He hasn't sold a single ticket Bitcoin, so we love him for that. That's the deal.
Okay, I want to back up just to start off. So like, well, first I guess tell me about the backpack.
Sure, I mean that's the original thing, the genesis of the whole shebang, and people don't recognize that. Like in terms of crypto, we've been going since 2021 on the Binance Smart Chain days. We were a SafeMoon fork back then, which everything was, and I was like a day 2 buyer of that. I actually went and checked. That's why I got into crypto again. Just ticker Bitcoin. I've been kind of a fanatic about it ever since. Only bull posted one coin till now, but all of it came from the backpack originally, which is like a 2012, 2013. 4chan, some other kind of image message board. Maybe it wasn't 4chan.
No, it was 4chan.
It was 4chan, yeah. It's like a famous stupid backpack that is our logo. Of like a grainy kind of whatever megapixel camera photo of this backpack in, we think, the Netherlands is the research.
Interesting.
Yes, because in the corner of the backpack, the original design, there's some tulips. And so it makes sense for like a Netherlands gift shop. So people think it's called Black Market Gift Shop.
I thought it was like the Wuhan wet market or something.
I've always, I've kind of, I mean, I understand the Dutch explanation, but I've also thought, like, are the Dutch really that big? Is the tulip fanaticism there still that strong, right? Like, it could appear anywhere, right? It's
right.
But it
could be arbitrary.
And those tulips, flowers, they got edited into a Bitcoin symbol for the meme that went viral. Like, the one that went viral, people would have seen that. And so that's kind of where you have the full meme of Harry Potter, Obama, Sonic, 10 Inu, and then ticker Bitcoin.
And so but no one knows who made the original coin for Binance Smart Chain, which is kind of funny.
I was curious about that.
We have
ideas.
There's theories.
There was a wallet.
Satoshi.
There's even, I mean, I won't spoil it because people need to have Easter eggs, but there's like within the ticker Bitcoin ETH smart contract, there's some Easter eggs you can find of a vanity address that's a call out to some BSC dev days.
That's interesting. Okay, so right.
So that's one way to be able to, and it's just a call out. It's not a reference because it is truly different devs, but
right.
I think that
we did this Ethereum one. We know who did this because
But I do think that in the BSC level that the dev was active in both communities, and I like him. Yeah, the person that I think is the dev is someone that's cool.
Me too. Right.
No one notable outside of us.
That had the same ticker, same name.
Yeah, yeah.
That was the same exact concept. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it was one of these 1010 reflection tokens, which was that was the meta at the time. We can't possibly sell that anymore. It's still on Binance Smart Chain now. Like I still have 1.5 trillion I never sold. It's whatever. It's my coin.
Diamond hands.
Yeah, super diamond hands. Right. I think a ton of us still have a bunch. But so if that ever revives, if BNB goes crazy, then phenomenal. But we're not counting on it. We had to redo it on ETH, which is obviously just like the right place to do it.
And then like the source of the meme itself, like the backpack, is there any backstory there that you guys know about? Like who came up with that?
Whatever genius at whatever Chinese factory was like, listen, let's get all the most popular stuff, and if it's all in one place, someone's gonna love this product.
It's everything just an incredible amalgamation of words.
And we don't know, but we've seen, there's like other iterations of that backpack. They're like very similar design, but basically the same thing. In like random Chinatown, like Canal Street gift shops in Manhattan. So so there is some distributor somewhere still manufacturing this type backpack. And we don't know. We should actually look into like a Chinese factory. But funnily enough, there's some merch alpha I guess we could share.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have. I mean, as far as the backpack goes, we have some cool stuff coming up with that.
Yeah, we're looking at samples of like a sick like a luxury version of the backpack, original for sale in ETH or whatever. Yeah. Take a Bitcoin, you could
give
buy
people, some sweat.
So, yeah, we could give people like
something you can wear to the club,
That's right. Yes, exactly.
Plus, you guys come resplendent.
Thank you.
I mean, shout out to Woven NFT. For the sweater, he does great stuff, and then obviously MILF Dad and Metafactory. These are the run we did with them, and ourselves for the hat. That's Yo-Yo.
This is Yo-Yo himself, our main
Yo-Yo
man,
all the way.
Making these and the beer koozies that match these, which are phenomenal too. So gotta get them. We'll get you some of those.
Alright, sick.
We actually have a few.
I would love some Bitcoin merch.
Cool.
So then what, like, the launch on Ethereum, what did that look like? When did you guys kind of decide to do that? Tell me about the early kind of community there.
Oh, that was good. That was like me, VMU, Alpha, who's like a long time, like super just good community member too, Radical G, random community member from like South America. Just like our friends who were kind of like still paying attention to the Binance Smart Chain one because, I think that at that point in the cycle, like no one was caring about anything. But people stuck around, like we told them, hey, we're going to relaunch. Get ready, so they had ample time to figure it out, but they had to be paying attention. But we were like, we just launched a clean token, no tax, obviously, like a regular good contract. That was in May of 2023, May 10th. Right?
So kind of like Pepe, or was Pepe before
Pepe
that?
was April.
Pepe came
but that was
right
the
before
onus.
Yes.
That was because that was like, it's
that was the genesis
and
of like
credit to VMU by the way because VMU read the room of crypto.
He did.
He was like, it's time, and then
we were waiting.
We weren't first, but we were second, and that mattered. Yeah,
true.
Well, people think like the Zoomers, the LA Vape Cabal, all thinks that like Solana is the meme coin trenches, but like the OG meme coin shitcoin trenches were like ETH.
It was Ethereum.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and back like a decade ago, you could go into the Doge chat and you could just say anything and you would get tipped. You would always get Doge.
Yeah, some random
people would always give you something, and I think that really informed a lot of the ETH meme coin culture. Was this like inverse of extractive, nature, right?
It's actually $83 trillion to Africa.
Yeah,
just like random people making videos and stuff, which is the way you're supposed to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, done spontaneously.
And then like the early, like you guys were still very small at that point, right? Like a couple. Like how big was the kind of like core community there?
May.
Oh, in terms of how many people were just holders, I couldn't even tell you. I mean, it did explode pretty quickly when people just saw the new pair and stuff.
And
like Charlotte Fang tweeted about it, like day 2 or something.
Well, and there was like honestly from the BSC, there was at least a dozen to 20 people maybe from the BSC core.
Yeah, it's mostly the same people.
That's a big deal because when the ETH launch happened, we already had all of the memes, right? Like the people, like kind of.
True.
I think that actually mattered a lot to have that. Not a lot of stuff developed organically after, of course, right?
Yeah, we had like 2 years of making goofy memes with each other, and it was the exact same branding, so we could just basically use the same stuff because it was like goofy, timeless memes generally. So why not just keep them using? So we had this enormous like backlog of like stuff to use and tweet out automatically, right? And people already knew each other, had already been holding together for a long time. Had already like had a good community in Telegram and shit. So
I came around for the ETH version. I remember
we almost kicked you out.
I know, right? I remember that. Yeah,
we banned you.
Because that's the thing. Because my impression being was like, man, like these, there's a pre-established community set for this, and that's why. I mean, the website, of course, that alone was the greatest piece of internet ever. So that made you bullish. But then seeing who was around, you could tell, oh, this is about to be a success because people have been dedicated to this for some time.
Yeah, exactly right. There's consistency with the group of dudes, and they're all having fun for years, and now we're going to keep it going.
Yeah,
that's I think much easier to build off of than just like from scratch, and nobody knows anybody. You have to build trust from each other. You have no clue what's going on. New thing that seems sketchy.
Yeah.
What do you think like about the meme specifically is compelling to people?
Well, I think because people really do appreciate absurdity and stuff that's sort of satirical more than we give them credit for a lot of the time. Like, a lot of the stuff that started out to be a joke, poking fun at popular stuff, turns out to be more popular than the thing it was lampooning originally. Like, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles started out making fun of, like, a manga that was, like, about the fall of the Fist Clan, so they made the Foot Clan to fuck around with them. And, like, make it extra stupid. But actually, people really like that, this super zany thing that turns out to be poking fun. It happens all the time. Same with like Weird Al Yankovic. If you think about him, like this guy sells a zillion records.
Yeah.
Because he kind of is ripping on like the popular thing, and people do respond to that in a really interesting, visceral way. So it could be something like that. That's part of it, I think.
It's like the derivative flipping the OG.
Yeah. Like people like the bootleg almost more than the original thing because it's kind of funnier. Like Transmorphers is better than Transformers. Like, there's something to that. So I think it does play on that, and I think the fact that it's so like universally absurd too. Like it's not like anything that's like topical. It's not like contingent on any like news cycle. It's just like funny stuff that's kind of timeless, and it's an amalgamation of everything like we're talking about. So you can really mix and match a zillion different concepts and get content out of it that's appropriate for the meme. Doesn't really go for any other meme I can't think of.
Plus, like the mashed meme is really funny, and like I can think of a couple coins that are maybe predecessors like Dogelon, Mars, and stuff like that.
That came way before us. That was like a cycle before actually.
Where it's like the meme amalgamation concept.
Well, that's why we added Taninu, where I guess whoever they're
exactly right.
That
like
was making fun of that back in the day. That was sort of the joke, right? We pushed everything together, and they were throwing Inu on every fucking thing on the planet back then. So right, we did that too.
I certainly think the primary colors are a huge aspect of it too.
That's true.
I think that the primary colors, and also the logo itself, it's respects the golden ratio. It's a really pleasing. It's just something that is pleasing to look at. Sonic is, and think of the people that are in crypto, right? The millennial to late Zoomer crowd. That's a lot of brands that they love, between Harry Potter to Sonic, and even if they don't love Obama politically, it certainly reminds them of being a kid, right?
Yeah, and I think the Sonic especially is like the autist super character. He's like the super autistic. People love Sonic for some reason, and also crypto happens to attract people who love like gaming and shit like that. So
Agreed.
I think you're totally right. Yeah, it's like it's a good native for crypto stuff. If it wasn't crypto, it'd still be funny as a brand, but I think it works in crypto especially for whatever reason.
So Harry Potter, obviously, magician. Obama, Sonic, Inu. We talked about. What's the 10 from?
Well, that's on his. It's on his stomach.
It's on his belly.
Sonic
it's
is
on
10.
his stomach in the sorry,
I'm not a gamer.
So no, it's not even in the game.
He
So
just has
on the
on his-
backpack,
I'm
on the backpack meme, he has like on his stomach, like also like it is in my sweater, and like on like his and on like right here. See how it has a 10? Like that is on the actual backpack.
Yeah, because he's like sports.
No one. Well, I don't. Yeah, it was just a random thing that they're just ripping
jersey.
stuff off.
Maybe throw that on her.
A little Pele callback.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Something like
That's
that.
exactly.
They know 10's a
So they
good
know
number for a
10,
guy,
and that
so.
maybe look into cultures that venerate the number 10. I don't know, but that was
you can riff on it a lot, which is good too. It's a binary code, 1 and 0. It's a 10 and the 1. It's like you can get into gematria numerology crap with it too if you want, which is fun.
But the 10 stands for
$10.
And so now we have that and we launched on May 10th, 2023 for the ETH version.
We always do that.
Every month it's the 10th, and that's a big day for us.
That's interesting.
Happy 10th is like a big thing.
Happy 10th, yeah.
And then you mentioned Charlotte Fang, founder of Milady Remilio. Was that early kind of Milady Remilio movement, like were a lot of holders kind of coming from that NFT basis, or is it not as associated?
Yeah, I can say that we're talking about May 10th, 2023. That was a big day for the Lindy world of crypto because Elon tweeted a Milady that day, right? So, and Elon, and by the way, a little background on that, Elon knew that Grimes liked Milady. And so everyone that was around at that time, no one knows this for sure, but our inference is that he was basically just trying to kind of get Grimes' attention, right? It was like, he was like, oh, I'll tweet this Milady, let's just see that. So on that day, Charlotte Fang also tweeted about us. So there was a lot of eyes on those two worlds, on our world and on their world, on the day of our TGE. And I think that led to, because I know a lot of core Remilia people that, got in like sub 1 million, sub, 5 million.
And they would have had to just see it come out. Like we were just like out of nowhere.
So, and they've been a core part of our success. Yeah.
True. Yeah, we love those guys.
That's awesome. Okay, so now like May 2023, you launch a shitcoin essentially. Like what do you do, right? Like there's always this question of like, what is a shitcoin dev or what is a shitcoin community?
Yes.
And it's like, what did you guys have plans early on for like developing into this ecosystem, or was it more of an organic process?
Oh, well, we definitely weren't barking up the tree of like, doing a Barrett chain L2 at that point or anything like that. Like this is all evolution for sure of just like the way things have gone and like how we've scaled and organized everything. But no, right. Originally we just wanted to do the best shitcoin, basically like a really good meme coin. Mm-hmm. And we had seen that Pepe kind of proved that, okay, now it's time for another cycle of this. It would make sense for us to launch. And we did see that kind of come to fruition with, After Us, MOG, and SPX and those other like solid ETH coins. Came out like just around the same kind of time. Then Solana stuff started happening. Mm-hmm. And that kind of, I think, was a different ballgame, but we put some liquidity over on Solana, and I like the Retardio guys and stuff like that. But I think on the whole, the ETH meme coins have been like sort of the stronger like gesture of like what a true meme coin is supposed to be doing.
Right, like the stalwart cults.
Correct. Yeah, I think that's much more valuable and more interesting to people than just like chasing pumps and like hoping it gets the runner of the day.
Yeah, the runner of the day.
It's just everyone got really tired of that. It's grueling. It's not fun. No one makes any money, so no one has any fun. I think we just tried to cultivate a better culture around making fun stuff, and to launch, I guess we just had to make a lot of memes, quick, make a lot of content. How do we launch? How do we make it take off? Before we were thinking, because we were still in the last cycle, so we were thinking 4chan, and everyone's like, bro, no way, Biz is totally dead. Like, I'm sorry, they fucked it up with the caption and all that stuff, which is too bad because I love 4chan. We were like, okay, let's do Twitter. Like, obviously, it's crypto Twitter is the thing, obviously, and it took me a sec to pivot to that. But now we get it. We just tweet incessantly all the time, go crazy on Twitter, and if you can get people really active on Twitter and make a lot of noise on there, I think that resonates with crypto Twitter community, which isn't that big. I think people see funny stuff and pick up on it. Hence, our success early on.
I think that while there wasn't maybe always the long-term plan, there was a lot of really good short-term things that we knew from experience, like simply getting people to go raid a post, right? Like using ShieldBot and having, it sounds like something that's commonplace now, but this really wasn't a big thing back then.
I'm curious to talk about that actually, because like the meme coin conventions, and actually now we're seeing like a shift away from the meme coin conventions where it's like not every meme has a Telegram anymore, but like the meme coin conventions that were established in 2023, which was like, okay, we have a Twitter, we have a website, we have a Telegram, where we have a ShieldBot and a Telegram, we're raiding, right? All these things didn't exist. Like Pepe, I don't think Pepe had that necessarily.
No, they didn't have a centralized push. No,
we
were the first people to have that kind of centralized push, and that was certainly the biggest. If you're talking about coordinated effort to build a community, that was the biggest part of it, because we were thinking, okay, how do we create a digital identity for these people that's going to be better for them than their real world identity? Because that's what everybody is showing up here for. And then once you've done that, make things that can bring that digital identity into their real world identity. Stuff like what we're wearing right now, because that's what really completes the holistic circle of enhancing someone's self-worth.
Well, it's really like a throwback a little bit to kind of the NFT communities where it's like community driven, right? And later the cult word gets thrown around a lot and stuff like that.
Right.
So then like 2023 was still rough, right? In the fall, things started to pick up for crypto generally. How was like the community doing in that time?
That was our best period.
We were good, right? Yeah.
So we just happened to be, we were going from like 5-6 figures in May of 23 to a 9-figure project by the summer of 23. And so into the fall, there was some chop and up and down, but people were generally pretty happy, right? Mm-hmm. And I think there was also a really bullish sentiment, but that certainly did, to your point, get curbed, because by February of 2024, you looked at most ETH meme coins and it seemed like it was dead.
Yeah, that was
that was definitely between October of 23 and February of 24, that was probably the toughest period to get through. And I think the way we got through it was because we had so many people that were dedicated to that same identity that we're talking about, right? Their bags were important to them, but what was also important was showing up to the Telegram, which is a 24/7 conversation. If you ever come into our Telegram, it's never ending. It's always people talking to one another. And these people are showing up every day, and they have people who know them there and like them for certain things and remember stuff about them, and those people have been coming back every day no matter the price. And so yeah, I do recall like December of 2023, January. I mean, those were really tough
Pretty brutal,
months
yeah.
where you
It
had
does quiet down a little bit. And,
Yeah.
But it's interesting because you notice the sort of patterns. There's people who come back only when the price is up, and they're super euphoric, and that's a lot of fun. And of course they want to participate in that.
Yeah.
But then in the winter times of the coin, when it's this bearish sentiment, you almost get more funny stuff happening because there's people who are really just sticking around for the lulls.
Right.
They're not there because they're making any money. They're probably pissed.
Yeah.
But they're still willing to like express that in like a funny ass way. So we do get like some of the goofiest videos and stuff from like the darker times, and also you see like who really was there to stick around for the thick and thin, which is interesting because later on those people tend to be like some of the best contributors from like a community perspective, which is cool. Like they stuck around because they really care about it. It's not just because they're like opportunistic about it.
Well, I remember hopping in the MOG Telegram at like this fall or something, and I think like they don't really have a Telegram going anymore. Like some
more Twitter
some teams
chat
outgrow
based,
it.
I guess that's true. People
They
sometimes
do.
do Twitter chat.
I know they do a lot of Twitter chat based.
Which
I
makes
have
sense.
some-
Same idea.
some
Same
friends
idea.
there,
Yeah, it's we just are spread too thin, but we have a lot of like Twitter raid chats too. Same idea. You want
Right.
in there too, but
So it kind of like disperses over time. Like, I mean, I don't know how many holders you have. It has to be like what?
Well, technically, it's like I guess with base and everything, it's like
that's right.
close. It's like under 100,000. I think it's closer
Okay.
to it than. But I'd say we have probably a core group of several hundred to maybe 1,000 people that you can count on to be posting or talking about us in our community every day or every other
something
day.
like that. Yeah, I wouldn't
Yeah.
even actually be curious to think. Probably
Yeah.
under 1,000 though. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah,
like
it's
super
never
core
it's
people.
never as long, and that's kind
It's
of
like a 10-to-1 thing.
well, earlier when I was talking about the launch on ETH and that it only took like a dozen to 20 people who were dedicated from BSC to fuel it, it's not, these cults as people call them, it doesn't take as many voices as I think people think, right?
Sure.
Like, Murad's a good testament to that with SPX.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did, like, really, Murad is SPX. Like, obviously they had the community to back it up, but, like, once he started becoming public around SPX was when they had the massive run-up.
Yeah, and that just proves that you can do like a lot with a very small team. I think people do think that like you need a ton of funding or you need like a shit ton of like infrastructural stuff to make this stuff happen. But the meme coins, it's like it's like 4 guys, it's like 3 people.
No, SPX, Space, and Backroll,
that's right,
and many other great people, right? Idea, obviously.
Totally, yeah. But this is like it's not like a team of 100 dudes. It's like 3 people, and it could just be like one whale who is like super bullish, and that guy will make the entire difference for the coin. So that's cool. I mean, it's an interesting industry where you can like have so much individual sway over such like a substantive financial instrument. It's like something that's changing a lot of lives and making people a lot of money, but you as one dude can really change the course of that thing for good or ill. So it's interesting.
Right. Have you guys had any like personal conviction moments where you were like, shit, I think it's over, guys?
For this cycle, you'd say?
For Bitcoin, no. I mean, crypto, yeah. I like quick crypto way back in like, I forget, like 2017 or 18 when it sort of like had a shitty time. But, my friends were mining Ethereum on the graphics cards and stuff. Like I was doing e-commerce stuff, working with agencies. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I was like researching it and stuff, but didn't really get it. And then when I finally did get in, I like, tanked, quit. I came back for Ticker Bitcoin. And since then, only had conviction for one thing.
Mm-hmm.
But for a second, I was like, crypto's cooked. I'm gonna just get out of this. And then I saw the GME shit. And I was like, okay, let me do this again.
Oh, interesting. That was a bit of an inflection point too.
Yes. I missed the GME thing, and then I was like, oh, fuck. Well, let me take a look at let me look at crypto again.
Yeah.
And then actually made me take a look at this NFT stuff and all this kind of stuff. I was like,
as far as Ticker Bitcoin goes, I feel pretty comfortable about just what we have in terms of both the core community support, the brand strength, and then the liquidity that we personally have within it to be able to keep it going. Like we're never gonna leave, and we're not gonna take out the money. So it's just like I don't see a world in which it ends per se. I actually think that one of the coolest things for our community is going to be next cycle, like in the next bull market when seeing all-time highs in 2028, 2029, and we're still around, we're making new all-time highs, and we get to see what a cycle-to-cycle meme coin experience looks like.
Which is like a Dogecoin-esque thing. That's what we really are going for that. Like for a multi-cycle course. We're trying to build that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I think maybe a bit of a long view for some people's taste, but if they want to go roll the dice in the casino, that's great. But we're trying to really build a long.
I told the others recently, I was like, man, I really need to have kids soon so someone can run the project after we all die.
Like your heirs, yeah.
Yeah, we need someone to inherit. Yeah.
True generational Bitcoin
correct.
wealth.
Exactly.
It's
It's
like heirloom.
generational Bitcoin.
I have
wealth.
heirloom
Yeah.
Bitcoin. After
I will
decades
give it.
ago,
I've never
man.
sold any. I never will, and I'll give it to my kids. And I don't know. Maybe I'll burn it to prevent them from
There you go.
selling
I
it.
think they might
Yeah.
It's like the generational
They're just gonna
curse,
they're gonna see the
They're gonna-
transaction hash in the will. You know. Oh my
Sorry.
god.
That's really funny.
Last thing
he
I
burned
did,
it
yeah.
30 years ago
Yeah.
when we were born.
I'm gonna be playing. Hey, in 98 years, when all those unlocks from 2023 happen, everyone that locked their liquidity for 100 years, I plan to play all of those. If I'm
Double
alive and
doubles.
trading, I am gonna be playing those unlocks. Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
So what's a Sproto?
A spirit.
A Sproto. Yeah.
Well, it came from a misunderstanding.
It is
spirit,
because that's
yeah.
the Sproto. Exactly.
Do you want to explain it?
Sure, yeah. I mean, right. In the BSC days, we were amping each other up, and some guy said we were psyched because someone was encouraging somebody else, and he said, "Hey, that's the Sproto," meaning spirit, and we were like, "Everyone's that's the Sproto, spamming it." He's legendary.
Yeah.
He actually came back around the other day. Airdrop Tony made that.
Yeah, Airdrop
Funny
Tony.
as-
Yeah, shout out Airdrop.
It's a
Shout out Airdrop
random
Tony.
dude. Yeah,
The
he's the
creator
best.
of the word
Dude, he
Sproto.
made up
This is
Sproto.
the first time he's ever gotten public credit for this.
I know,
This
I
is like
got
one
it.
of the most major NFTs of this cycle.
Gotta give
No one
credit.
knows.
Yeah, and the spiel behind that was we had gone from like a $10 million all-time high right when we launched, maybe like 2 months afterwards or something, to a really bad, abysmal.
No,
you know,
this was
right.
This was 3 weeks.
3
This
weeks
was-
into
yeah,
it. Yeah, it's right. It was right after the launch, I guess.
Yeah.
We went down to 800K. We sucked. We
600K.
fucked up. 600K. So bad. 90% retrace, and we were like, oh fuck, what do we do? And then we had these like cool drawings that Juicy had done from buying Smart Chain days. Little blue guys, and they were really cool. I don't know, he just did it for fun. And we were like, okay, well, somebody, I think LARP Lord, we'll give him credit for that.
Yeah.
So he said, why
Thanks,
don't
shout out
we,
LARP
yeah,
Lord.
LARP Lord's the man.
I like that.
Why don't we give everybody, make some more of these things with AI? We've got like 100, just generate a bunch.
Right.
Give them some rules. Just give it to these guys because we feel like dickheads because they stuck around and we've 90% retrace. So we're like, all right, great idea. And then we were like, we'll give everyone, 3 free ones or whatever. We'll do it on Scatter because they were chill. And we're like, oh, no, let's do 5. And we were freaking out because we're like, we want to min out. We don't want to look like dumbasses and not min out. Let's give everybody 10 of these
10.
things, whatever. Who cares? We're not gonna. No one's gonna care about this thing. And then it worked really well. It minted out, and we were like, that's cool. And then it started being valuable. And we were like, we can't pretend that we set out to have a super successful NFT project with Sprotos. We just thought it was cool, and and we were just trying to hack together something interesting. Yo-Yo did a big job of scrubbing these things. They generated 10,000 of these things.
Yo-Yo's the
3,000.
deployer too.
Yeah, he deployed as well, exactly, right. So that was it. It was just a handout to our homies who stuck around and didn't abandon ship when we had started to really suck. And then it turned around, ironically, the whole thing. Revamped the whole brand and made everyone pay attention again. And they're like, oh, these guys are cool. We're not rugging, obviously.
It
we're
gave
giving
people the digital identity.
Well, that's true too, and that's cool,
Yeah.
and that's turned out to be a big component.
You
of,
could see
successful-
who was in our community. So when
Yeah,
people, you always see people, who are these little blue creatures in my replies, right?
Yeah.
That only happens when you have the profile picture to center around them.
Yeah, that turned into be a huge component of us spreading the brand and the message because everyone's got this instantly recognizable primary color PFP that's unified and it's all saying cuckoo stuff. It's unified in an effort somehow. Very mysterious to people outside, and that kind of gets them drawn in. Then they see the website, and then they're like, okay, we like this.
Plus, Sprotos have definitely stayed totally aligned with Bitcoin, the token. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes a community can bifurcate or be the NFT world or the token world, but you guys have completely aligned.
It's interesting. I don't know how we pulled that off. I don't know. I think
The Sprotos are the biggest soldiers. That's
yeah,
why.
I think it's because those are the guys in the trenches all the time, and they're recognized as such. People see a
Yeah.
Sproto, they're like, oh, this is someone who's going to be cuckoo and really grind hard on Twitter, which is good. That's what you want. It's super bullish.
Yeah, because I'm thinking just because you wear a Milady or a Remelia or something doesn't mean that you're a huge cult bull. In a lot of cases it does, but every Sproto is you go to their Twitter and it's every tweet is about Bitcoin.
It's a very good point. You're never going to find a Sproto who doesn't really care.
Who isn't
about
bullish.
taking Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Although
I can't imagine
my
that.
girlfriend did show me on TikTok, and trust me, my girlfriend does not care about crypto. She showed me a guy who he uses his name is Renzo, and he has I think close to 1 million followers on TikTok, and he's got 6 figures followers on Twitter too. And he uses Sproto as his profile picture. She's
Really?
like, yeah, I was watching TikTok and one of your little NFTs came up on my feed. My girlfriend is just shitting all over.
I've never
the
heard of
place.
a random guy out there in the
He's
wild.
No, I've seen him
having a
before. His
Sproto.
name's
That's-
Renzo. Yeah, and he's not I would not consider him, but he has a lot of branding with the Sproto. Like, I think he took off when it was his profile picture. And I mean, hey, thank you, Renzo. Like, please don't
tight.
take it away. You're cool. I'll include you. But he has like people do. Like, I've seen he's had art commissioned of his Sproto, independent of us.
Dude, we should work on a collaboration with that dude.
I mean, I think quickly, I'll just say that, talking about cults and everything real quick, like, the whole formula behind that is that you take some kind of central idea, some central tenet or a meme, right, a philosophy, you make that thing beautiful, and then you give other people a chance to create with that beauty. And you can see that even in the little things such as this, Renzo creating a different piece of art for himself. Our community loves the culture and the token so much because they're able to express themselves and make cool things using it as the basis.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, if it's not a launch point for creating cool stuff, no one's going to care after a few months. They're just going to chase profits.
I'm not, trying to, comment on the price or say you should buy or sell WIF. But I think WIF is like a trash meme. I'm sorry, it's not. It's
we
not
can rip
funny.
on WIF at this point.
I mean, I'm not sure. But people get sensitive about their banks. But think about it. How you have to be kind of an idiot to really find it. I'm sorry. Like the dog has a hat. Like
it has legs for about 23 seconds, right? And then it's like, okay, what after that? And there's nothing, right?
You know what I mean? Like
there's better memes.
That's just not a deep meme to me at all.
You can't pretend that
that's something that a child would find funny.
There you go. Right. Right.
I'm not trying to insult.
There's levels to. There's good and bad meme coins for sure. I think that's fair to say, and everyone acknowledges that. No one's pretending that bad ones are good.
The hat stays on. That's as far as that meme can get.
Well, you can tell, like in the trenches, you can say like, okay, does this have the potential to be an actually good meme, or is this like a runner of the day? You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Like I don't know what's trading today, but like the baby deer that they kidnapped or whatever. Like that's not going to be a generational meme, but it might run a little, right? But yeah, then you have like the deep memes that are more Lindy, right?
Lindy, exactly. Yeah.
It's funny. I remember. I don't know what date it was, but it was probably like maybe winter 2024, like about a year ago. And I showed my girlfriend like the top 20 memes by market cap. And I was like, okay, so do you like WIF? Do you like Doge? Like what like the normie test, right?
Yeah.
Which shout out Razimer a little bit for popularizing that idea, but the funniest thing she found, and she does not know anything about crypto. She actually doesn't like crypto, but she thought Bitcoin was the funniest one.
See, there you go. I love that. We need the footage of that. That's
no, and I'm sorry. It's always bothered me that people sometimes will photoshoot like normies can't understand this meme. I know from experience they love it. You wear our stuff and outside anywhere. I have like elderly women all the time like compliment me on it. It's just they really love it.
Well, I think ticker Bitcoin is really the part of the normie appeal, right?
Yeah.
Like the meme is good, right? But then the idea that like we're gonna like vamp attack Bitcoin kind of.
Yeah.
That's like the good meme.
Well, I'd say they vampired us.
They stole our strong concept was totally taken by
boomer
back
Bitcoin.
in time. That's right. That's the old boring Bitcoin stocks. Give me a break. Less letters than Bitcoin. BTC can't do it. Yeah. I think it's a good brand, and that is a kind of a funny angle to think of. Like if you take away all the branding, the Sonic stuff, any of that stuff, ticker Bitcoin is such a funny joke. No one even thought to do that as like a riff on BTC not being Bitcoin, but that being an option. When I heard that initially, way back in 2021, I was like, that's the funniest shit of all time. How did no one think of that before? And that's kind of what you want for something where you're sort of poking fun. It has to be something that's almost like inevitable, like someone had to have done it at some point. So that makes that's the extra strongest kind of thing. Like if you can make a song that like someone should have made already, it's going to be a hit.
I totally agree. Yeah.
There's one interesting component about the ticker Bitcoin, and it's 7 characters, which means it doesn't have the hashtag on Twitter.
It does not. I know. It's annoying, but with Twitter, and we have a very storied relationship. We just got our third Twitter canceled. Our main, our major Twitter. We built it up to 40K or whatever. 50K, right? Originally nuked. Second one nuked. We're on a third one. Like most meme coins get to keep their original Twitter. I've been personally nuked. Yours has been personally nuked, I'm sure.
I know. I've survived.
You play close to the chest.
I'm just a really positive person.
You never. I say crazy stuff all the time.
Elon wants positivity, apparently.
I think his algorithm favors you. Yes. So stop being negative, I guess. But no. We've been facing all this crazy adversity on Twitter for some reason, just getting shadow banned left and right and stuff. But it's part of the lore. You got to be forged in the flame. If you want to be strong iron, that's the only way.
And we've learned about the whole economy there is to getting your Twitter unbanned. I mean, there's a lot of backdoor dealing in that.
I know, and they're saying the pump Fund attack yesterday where they hacked the Pump Fund Twitter was like an insider on Twitter.
I missed that actually.
Well, yeah, just think about. I mean, I was really when I saw that people were buying access to like Kanye and AB's account stuff. I realized, I mean that's a scum. It's innovative scumbag marketing basically, right? I mean, like
next gen scumbaggery.
But if you think about it, Twitter, it is of the level of a major broadcast source. So if you can buy access to the voice coming out of that, it's a powerful thing. And yeah, I guess that's why you're seeing these kinds of things now.
I want to go back to the cult component a little bit. Like, obviously, Murad, like, really brought it into the mainstream, but it was not the first time cult was thrown around. Like, are you guys a cult? When did you start thinking about yourselves that way? How much do you embrace it? Like,
I don't really, that's the thing, I don't really talk about it like that. And I don't really embrace it necessarily, but I appreciate it because I think it implies a lot of good things. Like, it implies fanaticism about something that people are like emotionally, personally invested in, which I think is cool. I think that's a good thing about crypto. Not a negative. I think that's a feature, not a bug. But like, yeah, I think cult has a kind of a goofy connotation that can be interpreted as like some sort of top-down like control mechanism for doing something,
right.
which is really not what's going on here. It is people who have like a shared sort of set of maybe beliefs or like aesthetic sensibilities or something, but it's not much deeper than that. Like, it's not like, if I were like trying to organize everyone to like become some sort of militia and go do some crazy stuff, then then we're getting in the realm of cult for sure. But like, literally, our cult mission is like to make funny memes and have a good time. Like, that's not a very like esoteric, modus operandi. Like, it's just like we're just there to goof around. So it's a cult of like having fun, but that's not like not that serious. I think so. Cult maybe adds too much heft to this kind of thing.
Cults like trad cults,
yeah,
are like top down, right?
Right.
It's like they have a charismatic leader, and then everyone follows them. But you guys are like bottom up, right? It's like community based, and I think most memes are kind of this way as well.
Yeah, I don't think it needs a figurehead. Like, I could be doing that if that's what was my ego trip. I really do not want to. I don't like to do that. I like to just make memes and have fun with the boys. Like, that's it. But that's good. And I don't think, and we've seen like, most of the meme coins don't need that either. Like, I don't think Pepe needed that. I don't think SPX needed that. It's good to have like, iconography and stuff. Like, we have like, the egregore, and we have like, our spotos and stuff. The other guys have other things. That's cool, but you don't need a crazy personality. I mean, maybe the meme coin in the future will require that. It'll be like, that's the multi-trillion-dollar coin. But I don't think so. I think you're right. The whole point is that it's a bottom-up thing, and like everyone can prove themselves by virtue of like doing work on their phone, which everyone has. So it's like it's very egalitarian in that sense. And you could be like a random dude. Now you're the star video creator for us, and like your video's on a billboard, or like we're running it as an ad or something. Totally meritocracy in that sense, which is cool. I think you're right.
I mean, in the spirit of crypto, where it's the most inclusive thing, right? You don't have. I mean, my experience in TradFi and crypto is that there's a completely different culture in crypto where you don't have to come from or go to these places and check off the boxes. Simply wanting to participate is enough to go be included.
Yes.
Yeah, and so if you call yourself a cult, you're probably not a cult. Right, so that's kind of our thing. People call you a cult, not the other way around.
You're on Pump Fund. The token is worth like $7,500, and they're like, "Oh, if you see you guys cult vibes."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
like what that just might be delusion, which is a part of a cult, so that's good. But
and I'll give
it's a step towards that.
and I'll give my friend Jimbo, from Vermilia team credit. Yeah, he's who really I first kind of got me thinking about that formula and talking about how that you take something to make it beautiful and let others create. But that really is true, and you can see it replicated even outside of crypto. Like, people need to be able to express themselves to complete their identity, and when you're giving them something beautiful like Ticker Bitcoin to be able to express and complete that identity with, it's going to really bring joy to their lives, and that's the best thing we can do, for people.
Yeah, I'd like to talk a little bit about like the financial component. You said like, I'm not gonna sell. I'm not gonna let my kids
never.
sell. Like,
never.
But yeah, it is this financial asset, and I think most people who participate in this ecosystem, if not all, are financially motivated. Like, how do you balance this kind of dichotomy between like never selling, hodl, and like the fact that there is like massive financial upside?
I mean, I think it's different for everyone, and we're really blessed to have all been longtime crypto guys, right? So it wasn't our first rodeo. So I will say, and I don't take a shot at this, everyone has to live their own life, but some of the projects that I've seen kind of flame out, the founders, went and took their profits, right? And that's something that we've luckily never been able to do. And also something that we're set up well in terms of the fees. I mean, we represent so much of the liquidity, so a lot of those fees are coming to us, and the ETH side of that fees is something that, if we were to say go broke, that's something you can you can go sell and not hurt the project.
Right.
So yeah, it's different for everybody, but we've just been fortunate to have a setup where our prior crypto experience and the project as is enough to keep us going without having to hurt the native token.
Yeah, and if you sell other stuff, that's fine. And I think people can go buy some random crap. That's totally fine. And I think at $10 people can take a little profit. I'll sell a little bit at 10.
Yeah, and
I have to admit.
I want to be clear. I really like that we can change people's lives by them having taken profit, and that we as the team, like I go to bed knowing that I've never used our community as exit liquidity, and I never will, and that makes it a lot easier to be able to just, I don't know. I think that in this industry, like. I having worked in trading and everything, you really begin to understand how it's PvP in a way that you go to the butcher and you buy meat from them and you're happy because you have the meat and they're happy because they have your money. In our world, there can be someone who's happy and someone who's sad. And in our quest to make it a win-win situation, we kind of have to take the negative end of that equation, I think.
Yeah, we can't get mad. Like, we have dudes, like a really big Milady guy has come up to me and be like, bro, you don't understand. Like, thanks to Ticker Bitcoin, I got my family a house. Like, I covered my shit, and that means he sold. But like, I don't give a shit about that. I really care that that helped out this dude's life. That's actually really sick. So to me, that's like, if you can do that, that's really cool. And it's not no skin off our nose. But yeah, I think we have to set the example of not ever selling. I think as devs, it's beholden to us to be like live the example. Like, I try to do that. Like, I'm in the Twitter trenches every day, all the time, because the dude's got to do that. I don't sell because they got to do that. I think it's only fair. You can't demand anything of the soldiers. That you're not doing yourself. So that's you got to at least live that. But I think at $1, I think people are allowed to take a little bit of profit, and at $10, people are allowed to take dump a little bit on retail when we're on finance or something. We won't, but they can do that. I'm saying we're not going to be mad at them if they do that.
We're lucky. I know that not every meme team is like us, and so we're lucky that we don't have to sell Ticker Bitcoin, and I'm lucky that our holders get to benefit. But certainly, I think you're right that you have to set the example. And
yeah, and it's nice actually. I think when you're evaluating meme coins and stuff, like we have legitimate sort of careers besides crypto. Or at least we have we're transitioning to crypto full time. But me and the rest of the team have like had real stuff going on, which is great because that means we don't have to sell. That's like what you really want. You want to check that out. Like, if the devs are desperate to eat, this thing's gonna be a nightmare. Like, something bad is gonna happen. They're gonna get hacked or something crazy.
It's true.
So
it's true.
Right. How do you guys fund operations?
Well, I mean, I guess we don't really have to because, like, without getting into all of our personal situations, like, I got into crypto when I was a kid, and I've been in it all my life. I worked in market making before we started. I quit, my job because Harry Potter, Obama, Sonic, Teninu moved, right? So I think that, and similarly, you can simply study what we do, and you can see that there's not. I don't think that there's not like the expenses that we have that come up are so like, we have people that will bring art to auction at our events, right? Because it's for them. And
shout out Demon.
Who's going to be auctioning some art at our party. We have a lot of really good partners. It's just it's kind of a light OpEx, I guess you could say.
What's our overhead? Really, I don't know.
Yeah, it's something it's something that is more than affordable given the. Not only just like the ETH side of the LP, but also just what we have personally financially committed. It's not skin off our backs, I guess you'd say.
And then you guys are like building. This is not to say that there aren't, like, just because overhead is low doesn't mean that you guys are not kind of like developing and working on the project. And tell me a little bit about the next phase of Bitcoin. I know.
Well, I mean, we just spent like $1.5 million on listings, so like we're definitely putting money in.
You can tell them that, I guess.
Right? Is that crazy?
Yeah,
something like that.
Well, we've spent,
We're definitely putting money in the freaking thing to grow this thing. We have to. We can't just tread water. We have to keep it moving with tier 1 listings and with what we're building with blockchain. I think that's one of the main things.
I mean, AltLayer being the partner they are, that's why we're able to do great things at a low OpEx, right? I think in different environments, you're having to pay for high engineering costs that we're getting the same high quality. Barachain being such a great partner as well. But yeah, to Morlight's point, I mean, us as a team, we have, out of our we've personally paid, as he said, like 7 figures plus in terms of expenses for the project. But that's something that is just
whatever. That's how we do it, bro. Yeah.
I mean, it's something you have to do for your community, and totally. It's not something that we would do if we didn't think we could sustain the project.
Right, exactly. Why the heck? That's a good point. Why the heck would we do that? Like,
Yeah, it's just
we're in this for a long
it's a part of the sustainability of it.
Yeah, and but the main thing we're building is besides this casino, which is going good. That's more chill. I think the more interesting thing is this blockchain L2 we're doing on Barachain, which is pretty new, and we're in public testnet now. And yeah, we had Kodiak, awesome guys over on Barachain to help us build our decks. Like really good partners for building our dApps and stuff. Barra Poker is going to be launch thing, which is awesome. We love that. So we're building like kind of a more fun degen, non-tech oriented chain. Just like it's like a meme chain. I think that's not trying to outdo anyone from a technological perspective. It is a restake rollup, as you mentioned, by Altlayer, and they're awesome. But yeah, it should be like just more a fun place to go on the internet, just like what our Telegram is, just like what our Twitter is. It's kind of the same idea.
Yeah. And some people claim utility is bearish. What's your thoughts?
I've never really seen that like play out. Like I can't think of an example where it's like, oh, this meme coin added utility and like crashed. I mean, for us, we don't, we're not trying to overpromise and underdeliver. Like most L2s are just down only experiments, right? So like ours is like basically an intersection between DeFi and meme coins, right? Where you're getting the passive income of DeFi and the asymmetric upside of meme coins. And we know from experience that's what degens want. And we have a lot of really great partners, and I think that there are going to be some really cool opportunities abound there. But the key for us is to not come out saying, oh, you're going to go and change your life here, but let people go and discover that themselves, because that was what happened with Ticker Bitcoin. It wasn't like we came out saying, oh, like we've never ever once told people to buy Ticker Bitcoin. That's never once been a part of the show. And because again, it's like not calling yourself a cult. Like let other people decide that they need to invest in you themselves, and they're going to see that with blockchain, and certainly people who are movers there are going to get great rewards as a result.
Yes, right. And we're going to try to incentivize our original community too. Of course, it's kind of like the main deal. So Ticker Bitcoin is the gas token of the L2 and stuff like that. So, and having a Sprota will come in handy for sure. We're going to work that in some good ways and stuff. So, don't you think? I don't know. Is that true?
Yeah,
true.
yeah, no.
I mean, I don't want to spill the beans too much on stuff.
Yeah.
A little alpha.
Super alpha, bro.
Side long glance.
More like, shut the fuck up. It's all about the Sprotas. I don't know.
Are you ever worried about being dilutive to like the coin?
No, because it's all about the token, right? Like, in fact, like, Barachain, like, when we were talking to Smokey and Jack and Sammy about all this stuff, they had so many great ideas of ways that we could bring value via the Barachain money markets, via DeFi to Ticker Bitcoin. And that was the main mover for us, because when we were looking at doing an ETH L2, it's like, this isn't going to do anything for the holders, and we're not going to do it if it's not for the holders, right?
Yeah, it would just be pointless.
And so the ability to bring in dynamic, because it's all Metcalfe's law, right? Like you're going to grow based on your holder growth. And so meme coins grow because they get a share of the attention economy. Everyone goes in to get their gamble, right? And then from there, it's based on your brand integrity. Do people want to leave? Do they want to stay? And so to kind of back to the utility is bearish question a little bit, I would say that if you can give people utility that actually gives them upside and the ability to express themselves, you'll get new holders that aren't already sold on the brand image for whatever that reason may be. And so that's what I think is going to be a tremendous benefit for us going forward.
Sometimes memed or lampooned on Twitter is like the Bitcoin chart. Because it's like,
it's a schizophrenic chart. It's the meme coin index,
It looks really good now, though.
It does look
I'm
really
sorry.
good.
We have been slaughtered for like over a year. People always go at me with this. My barber has brought it up to me before. Everyone comes at me for this stuff. But now you look at most charts and it's a literal, it's either a Burj Khalifa or it's like a long upside down U. But our chart, you go look at it. It is the safest chart to have both made money and kept money on. And,
it's true.
And definitely very proud of that. Yeah.
It's higher lows, rather.
It's So, but I get why.
Generational support.
Generational
It's
support.
just over the long term.
It's really good. But I get why, people would mean that. And
yes, we feel that intensely because, a lot of our worth is in this coin. So did you see it go up and down a lot? Like, holy fuck. But this is a long play. It's the heartbeat of crypto. That's right. It's like the heartbeat.
That's what I always think. Yeah, people call us the meme coin VIX. I've heard that too.
Funny. I like that.
I think, but it's we have a really, really rock solid community, and it's a testament. We did a truly fair launch. There was no supply reserved for the team. There was no whitelist. There was no ICO. There's no pre-sale. And in fact, VMU held people back from buying too much at the start.
Yes, I would have bought way more
because we didn't want to have so unfair. So really, like the amount of capital that exists just out there of Ticker Bitcoin, it's tremendous. And so I do try to tell people like the results that our community has seen from their hard work are really impressive.
Yeah,
they should understand that.
There are a couple like chart truisms, and it's like Zcash, doesn't pump, or only pumps, or XRP only pumps like right before the market crashes.
I
Or
love that.
what's there's a couple more.
Probably Chainlink being up while everything's down. I think Chainlink being up on the daily while everything's down is definitely another one. That's
And like honestly, Bitcoin, like the TA, the meme around Bitcoin has like also been, or ticker Bitcoin has also been like memed. Like is there an inflection point around the corner, and like or do you think it's just like a matter of trusting the process and like knowing that moment does come?
I mean, it's definitely market oriented, would you say?
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to see macro stuff happen, like Ethereum go nuts, or at least go to all-time highs, and then it's easy. Then we're gonna look like retroactively, like of course we planned this the whole way. But I think in the meantime, right, the best we can do is just sort of keep building very strong stuff. And there's always sort of the black swan event kind of thing with something like us, where it's such a funny brand that like, for example, my little brother just saw some random guy on TikTok, and he was like, "Hey, is that your guys' shirt, or do other people wear that shirt?" And like some dude is wearing the Ticker Bitcoin merch, and he's, my brother has no connection with crypto at all, really. And I've sent him coin, that's it. So to me, like there are these weird things that can happen where like a random person loves the merch and they wear it, and all of a sudden, what the fuck is this thing? That could be a crazy inflection point, and but I'm not banking on that. But that is something unique to Ticker Bitcoin. I don't think it really exists with any other meme coins, where there's like the merch is so sick that like it could creep through to the mainstream, break through real world reality in a way that's very surprising, and then kind of takes off.
And even if you were to see like broadly crypto and risk on assets decline, I think we would flip most people in the bear. Because we're not going to stop, right? We're going to still be producing the content, still doing all the same IRL events, still, putting the merch out, still doing new collaborations with people, still keeping, the significant amount of money in it. And I think there's just a lot that people can look forward to no matter, where the short run goes.
I talked to a guy yesterday who's like working on a privacy project, and he's like, dude, like privacy is so important fundamentally. Like, I believe it's a human right. He's like very like ethically oriented in privacy. You guys are a meme coin at the end of the day, but like you've decided to dedicate your lives to this. Like why is this the decision, that you're gonna, spend your time on earth doing this?
Don't make me second guess myself. You have to be so delusional.
I've never second guessed it though.
No, me neither. No, it's the way it had to be. It's just the egregore wills it. So right, like we had, I had like a regular e-commerce consulting career before this, and sort of like, should I do this full time? Yeah, I have to. But there's no other coin that would make me want to do that. It's just because it's too much fun. It's too good. Like it's the funniest shit. If there was something funnier, then I might be interested in it, but it hasn't existed so far, so I'm not.
You're just like SBF when he was asked about why he trades. He's like, oh, crypto's the most efficient. He's like, if I could make more orange juice futures, I'd do orange juice.
If I could have fun doing something more than ticker Bitcoin, I'd probably do that. But this is the most fun. So
but I mean, I know what you mean though, right? Because when you start running, and I've actually told people this because during this cycle, I had like even like wealthy friends of mine who have been in crypto for a while. Like they were like CTOing these projects, and they're like, oh, should I take this over and like make this my thing? And I told them, look, the minute that you do, you have to run it the rest of your life. Like if you ever stop doing this, you're a criminal. You're a
token does not stop existing.
It does not stop existing. And so I mean, for me, I was working in market making at the time when we started, and I really did enjoy it, and I really loved the people there. But I got to see that the best, like what crypto is at its best, is challenging the TradFi narrative of financial institutions being these entrenched things that you can't break into, that you can only basically receive from what they're going to give you. Crypto is something where you can go and create, right? You can have that spontaneous order, you can have that creative destruction. And I saw that within meme coins, that was certainly going to be the best avenue for any person who wants to express themselves and other people to appreciate what they're doing. That would be where we could go. And so when I saw the potential behind ticker Bitcoin from the community, it was easy to dedicate to.
Excellent. Well, Harry Potter, Obama, Sonic, 10, ticker Bitcoin. Thanks so much for being here, guys. Where can people find you on the internet?
HPS10i.com.
Well, yeah, hpos10i.com, greatest website ever. Shout out VMU.
Yes.
hpos10i returns is our Twitter because again, all the bannings.
Keeps getting killed.
Sproto Gremlins, of course,
Yep.
and Blockchain LOL. That's also another Twitter that has a pretty decent following.
Yeah.
And then of course, come to the Telegram. But
come to the main Telegram. Yeah, I think the best way to do that is use the official link in the Twitter in the bio. Don't get some tricky Telegram.
Yeah, the Telegram's again, it's active all the time, and
Yes.
the best thing we can provide for people is someone to talk to and to be able to spend their time with, and that's certainly.
And that's me. I'm in there freaking 13 hours a day.
Yeah, it's true. His man, you can most teams you can you can wander on our Telegram and literally just at all of us and ask any random question and you'll get an answer. Like
and we're face stocks too, which is kind of crazy for a meme coin too. But yeah, we're committed, brother. That's the thing. Once you have your face out there and your name and stuff, like it's game over.
Always there. So.
Yeah, so we'll see you here in 10 years. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks so much for your time, guys. Really appreciate it.
Thanks,
thank you.